Hello Chem 1A, this is the first lecture video of our class and we're going to be covering Chapter 1 and some basic concepts of chemistry. In this video we're going to discuss very briefly the scientific method and observations, both qualitative and quantitative. So chemistry and its methods. Chemistry, like all sciences, follows the scientific method. And so there are three vocab words that if you're a little rusty on the scientific method that you need to remember when discussing science. And that is a hypothesis, which is kind of a tentative guess as to why something is happening, right? We see something happen, we want to investigate it before we do any experiments, really, any major experiments to investigate whatever we saw. We make a guess as to why that observation is occurring, right? For instance, if I let go of my pen when holding it in the air, it'll fall to the ground. I observed that. My tentative hypothesis could be the mass of the Earth is so great that it actually pulls other matter towards it, which is kind of like the theory of gravity, but you get the idea. That would be a hypothesis until I tested it. Once I test it a lot, it either becomes one of two things, either a law or a theory. A law is a concise verbal, I mean, you can read the definition there, mathematical statement of behavior that seems to be the same under the same conditions. Now, a theory is a well-tested unifying principle that explains a body of facts and the laws based on them. It is capable of suggesting new hypotheses that can be tested experimentally. Now, one of the big things that students, I feel, have a lot of trouble with is the difference between a law and a theory. A law is a statement of observable fact. So what that means is if I see something happen, I state that it happens. That's a law. So for instance, if I lift that same pen analogy, right? If I take my pen, I lift it in the air and I let go, the pen's going to fall to the ground. Saying the pen's going to fall to the ground is a very bad example, but an example of a law, right? A theory is going to explain why did the pen fall to the ground, whereas the law will just state that the pen fell to the ground. All right. So when we're doing science, measuring things, taking observations down is a big deal. And there are two types of observations: qualitative observations and quantitative observations. Qualitative observations are things using our senses, like our sight, our feel, our touch, our taste, our hearing, our smell. These are ways we can kind of observe the world around us without actually attributing a number to it. That's the big deal. That's the major difference between qualitative observations and the next type of observation. So saying, hey, I'm wearing a green shirt or a red shirt, that would be a qualitative observation. Or using words like small or large, hot or cold. These are all attributing observations to the world around us, but not using numeric values to do so. And that is what makes a qualitative observation. There's no measurements involved. Quantitative observations, on the other hand, are going to always use a number, specifically a number with a unit attached to it. All right, so, and this is very important. If you write a number down and it's a measurement, a quantitative measurement, then you better have a unit next to it, almost always. For instance, if I said a cup holds 50, that really means nothing to anybody because 50 what? 50 grams, 50 marbles, 50 chocolates, 50 milliliters. Depending on what that unit is, that changes dramatically how much that cup can hold. If I just say 50, it really doesn't mean much. For this reason, if at any point in this class you leave a number without a unit that should have a unit, I should say, you're going to lose a small amount of points. We can use quantitative measurements to measure things like mass, time, distance, volume, density, temperature, color even, if we use wavelength to specify what color something is based on the wavelength of light it basically reflects. These are probably one of the major ways chemists take observations. Almost all experiments in chemistry are going to involve at least one or two quantitative observations. Not always, but almost always. All right, so if you guys have any questions at all, please come to my Zoom office hours or email me. I am always happy to help you.